Among the familiar faces in Willow Springs, one stood out, Jimmy Milton. A man in his early 50s, Jimmy was known throughout the neighborhood for his strict ways and love of order. His lawn was always neatly trimmed, and he took pride in maintaining the perfect appearance of his home. But it wasn't just his house he watched over. He kept a close eye on the entire neighborhood, making sure everything was as it should be. To most, Jimmy was a well-meaning neighbor, but to some, he could be a bit too nosy. He believed that his small, peaceful town should remain unchanged, just as it had been for decades. The idea of strangers moving in and disturbing the calm made him uneasy. So when something unusual caught his eye one Saturday morning, Jimmy's curiosity quickly turned into suspicion. Jimmy was out in his front yard watering the flowers he had planted just last week. The sun was bright, and the air smelled fresh with the scent of blooming roses. He loved these quiet mornings, where everything felt predictable and safe. But today was different. Out of the corner of his eye, he spotted a moving truck parked across the street, right in front of the old Miller house. The Miller house had been empty for months. It was a large, charming place that had seen better days, and many wondered who would be brave enough to buy it. Jimmy paused, wiping the sweat from his brow, and squinted toward the truck. Two movers were busy unloading furniture. But what caught his attention wasn't the movers. It was the man stepping out of a sleek black car parked behind them. The man was tall, muscular, and well-dressed, exuding an air of confidence. His dark skin contrasted sharply with the usual pale faces of Willow Springs, and for Jimmy, this was an immediate red flag. He muttered to himself, frowning as he tried to place the man. "Who is he, and why hasn't he introduced himself?" Jimmy's thoughts raced. The unspoken rules of Willow Springs dictated that new arrivals made an effort to greet the neighbors. This man, however, seemed busy directing the movers, pointing out where the furniture should go. Jimmy felt a surge of irritation. "This isn't how things are done here," he grumbled. Unable to contain his nosiness, Jimmy went back inside and fetched his old pair of binoculars. He positioned himself by the living room window, peeking through the curtains like a detective on a stakeout. He watched the man for nearly an hour, hoping to spot something suspicious, anything that could justify the uneasy feeling growing in his chest. But all he saw was a man settling into his new home. The movers carried in boxes, a couch, and some chairs. At one point, the man even helped them carry a heavy coffee table, laughing and chatting with them. He didn't seem like a threat, but Jimmy's instincts told him otherwise. He couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. As the afternoon sun dipped lower, casting long shadows over the street, Jimmy became restless. "Who does he think he is, moving in here without saying a word?" he muttered to himself. He paced back and forth, his mind jumping to conclusions. Was this man here to cause trouble? Did he have a criminal background? In a town like Willow Springs, it wasn't often that new faces arrived, especially ones that looked so out of place. By evening, Jimmy could no longer keep his suspicions to himself. He grabbed his phone and dialed the police, his hands shaking slightly with a mix of excitement and anxiety. "Yes, I need to report some suspicious activity at the old Miller house," he told the dispatcher. "There's a man moving in, and he doesn't seem like he belongs here. He might be trouble." The dispatcher, who had heard similar calls from Jimmy before, sighed but took down the details. "We'll send someone over to check it out," she replied, sounding a bit weary. Jimmy hung up, feeling a sense of satisfaction wash over him. In his mind, he was just doing his civic duty, protecting the neighborhood he loved. 20 minutes later, two police cruisers pulled up in front of Jimmy's house. Officers Hank Reynolds and Peter McCoy stepped out. Hank, a burly man with a thick mustache, was known for his no-nonsense approach, while Peter, a bit younger and leaner, was sharp-eyed and observant. They had responded to calls from Jimmy before and knew his tendency to overreact. Jimmy hurried out to meet them, a smug smile on his face. "Thanks for coming, officers," he said, shaking their hands eagerly. "You know we can't have strangers disrupting the peace around here." Hank gave a polite nod. "All right, Jimmy. What seems to be the problem today?" Jimmy pointed toward the house across the street. "That man over there," he whispered, as if sharing a deep secret. "He just moved in today. I've never seen him before, and I have a bad feeling about him." The officers exchanged a knowing glance. Peter raised an eyebrow, clearly skeptical. "Okay, Jimmy. We'll go talk to him and see what's going on." Jimmy trailed behind them as they walked over, feeling victorious. In his mind, he was the hero of this story, the vigilant neighbor keeping the town safe. As they approached the front yard, the man Jimmy had been watching stepped out onto the porch. He looked surprised but quickly composed himself, greeting the officers with a warm smile. He walked toward them confidently, his steps calm and measured. "Good afternoon, officers," he said in a friendly tone. "Can I help you with something?" Hank nodded, extending his hand. "Afternoon, sir. We got a call from a neighbor, just checking in to see that everything is all right. We heard you just moved in today." The man took Hank's hand firmly and smiled. "Yes, I did. My name is Desmond Mason," he replied calmly. "I'm actually the new police chief for Willow Springs. I'm here settling in before I officially start on Monday." Both officers blinked in surprise. Peter's face flushed slightly. "You're Chief Mason?" he asked, clearly taken aback. Desmond nodded, his smile unwavering. "Yes, that's correct." Jimmy's face drained of color. He had called the police on the new chief without realizing it. I just wanted to make sure everything was all right," he stammered. "I didn't know." Desmond's expression softened slightly, though his eyes held a hint of disappointment. "Mr. Milton, I appreciate your concern for the neighborhood's safety," he said. "But if you ever have any issues in the future, please come directly to me. It will help us avoid misunderstandings like this." The officers, now smirking, understood what had happened. Desmond's calm authority had diffused the situation far better than they could have. Hank added with a chuckle, "Chief Mason here has a great track record. We're lucky to have him." Jimmy nodded weakly, feeling thoroughly embarrassed. "Yes, of course," he muttered. Desmond gave him a kind nod. "I look forward to getting to know everyone in the neighborhood, Mr. Milton. I'm sure we all want the same thing, a safe, welcoming community." Jimmy mumbled an apology and quickly turned back toward his house, feeling smaller than ever before. The officers bid farewell to Desmond and headed back to their cruisers. As they drove off, Peter chuckled. "Well, Chief Mason certainly knows how to handle things." Hank grinned. "That's what you call instant justice." Back inside his new home, Desmond glanced at Jimmy's house and shook his head with a small smile. He knew that sometimes the best lessons came from a person realizing their own mistakes. That night, Jimmy sat alone, replaying the day's events in his mind. He realized that his attempt to protect the neighborhood had only exposed his own biases. It dawned on him that judging people by their appearance wasn't the kind of neighbor he wanted to be. And that brings us to the end of the story. I hope you enjoyed this tale of assumptions and unexpected lessons. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And for more intriguing stories like this, make sure to subscribe to the Story Hub and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new upload. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful day.